People think saving money just comes down to making more money or discipline. It doesn't. The people who save the most aren't working harder. They're following simple rules that do the work for them. So I'm breaking down the low effort, big impact money rules that help your money grow while you're sleeping. And these rules aren't opinions or trends. They're based on math, data, and behavioral economics. The first savings rule is the rule of 72. It's the best way to show how fast your money can grow and also helps you decide where your money should live. To follow the rule, take the number 72 and divide it by the interest rate of your savings account or your investment account. This number shows how many years it takes to double your money. So here's how you can actually apply the rule of 72 to your life and money. Let's say you have a 5% high yield savings account. If you keep your money saved there, it would take about 14 years to double. But if you kept your money in a long-term investment account and invested in common index funds that typically have an 8% stock market return, it would take about 9 years to double. And if your money sits in a typical savings account with an interest rate of 0.5, it could take over a century to double, aka never. This is all about the power of compound interest, where you earn returns not just on your original investment, but on the growth that accumulates over time. The earlier you start, the more time your money has to compound and multiply exponentially. For example, if you invest $10,000 at age 25, earning about 8%, by age 65, that will grow to around $200,000. But if you wait even just 10 years to invest, that number reduces by half. And that's really the important lesson you could apply to your life. The earlier your money starts working for you, the less you have to work later. The rule of 72 also tells you what types of accounts you should put your savings into based on your goals. In the short term, where you keep your money doesn't seem to make a difference, but this rule helps you zoom out to show you that where you keep your money really matters and can make savings over the long term very easy or an uphill battle. I personally avoid putting money into regular savings accounts and use a high-interest savings account where my money can actually grow. I also invest in the stock market through my retirement accounts, which allows me to double that money even faster. Well, 9 years to be exact, if the average return is 8%. This means I'll definitely have $1 million by the time I'm ready to retire. This can be you too, and the best time to start is now. And whether you're in your 20s, 30s, or 40s, the earlier you can make smart money choices, the better off you are, and you've already taken that first step by watching videos like this one. Now, there's another simple rule that most people have never heard of. It's called the rule of 70, and it tells you how fast inflation quietly eats your money. And knowing about it can help you make smarter choices and keep your money on the right path. Simply put, you take 70 and divide it by the inflation rate. That tells you how long it takes for your money to lose half its purchasing power. Over the last 30 years, inflation has typically been about 3%, meaning it would take 23 years for our purchasing power to be cut in half. So if you have $100,000 today, in 23 years, $100,000 would be like having $50,000 today. And it keeps shrinking the longer it sits still. So over the course of your lifetime, your purchasing power could be cut in half 2 to 3 times. This is exactly why knowing this rule matters when it comes to saving in the long run. It shows you that doing nothing with your money isn't natural, it's harmful. A lot of us think that keeping money in savings is safe and investing is risky. But even though index funds can have their down years, the numbers show that the more you keep in savings, the harder it will be to build your savings in the long run. That's why so many finance experts suggest that you put long-term money into investments, so they can grow faster than inflation. And investing earlier allows time to work in your favor. So not only does investing double your money faster, it also fights inflation. You've got to remember that your money is always growing or shrinking. The rule of 72 shows you what happens when your money works for you, and the rule of 70 shows you what happens when it doesn't. The third rule you need to understand is the 15% rule, and it's perfect if you aren't sure the exact number you should be saving for retirement. Now, most financial planners zone in on one particular number when it comes to retirement savings, 15%. Saving 15% of your salary for retirement, including employer matching, is enough for most people to retire without burning out. So if you make $60,000 a year, 15% of that is $9,000 annually or $750 a month to put towards retirement. But if your employer matches 5%, that means you only need to contribute 10% on your own. So instead of $750, you would contribute $600, and your employer adds $150. And here's what that finish line looks like. Start at 25 with a $60,000 salary, contribute 15% consistently, and you're looking at about $2.2 million by 65. But here's the key to all of this. It only works if it's automated. For me, I have my checking account linked to my retirement accounts. So twice a month on payday, I automatically invest before I can accidentally spend it. And if the money comes out of your paycheck before you ever even have a chance to touch it, you never even had the chance to miss it. The automated system saves for you, not your willpower. Now, this next rule was developed by a Nobel Prize winning economist, and it's called Save More Tomorrow or SMART. Here's how it works. Instead of trying to save more today, you commit now to saving more later, usually when you get a raise. So you're not giving up money you have, you're giving up money you will have in the future. And when the raise hits, part of it automatically goes to savings before your lifestyle adjusts. In studies for SMART, nearly 80% of people who refused to save more immediately agreed to save more tomorrow. Over 4 years, people increased their savings from 3.5% to nearly 14%. And even better was that most people stayed enrolled the entire time. You see, most people hate the idea of losing money, even if you're saving it. You're losing access to it. But we don't mind giving up future money because we've never had it in the first place. So start planning now. Picture how big your next raise will be and figure out how much will go into savings and how much will go towards any outstanding debts. If you're below the 15% target for retirement, this next raise should get you closer to that target. One decision now brings years of progress later. The next rule is a favorite of mine because it can turn spare change into over $100,000. Imagine that. I'm talking about the roundup rule. This is when every purchase you make gets rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change gets invested automatically. Buy something for $4.63, you're charged $5, and the remaining 37 cents goes directly to investments. Now, this rule isn't about setting a few cents to the side with every transaction and ending up with $10 a month in savings. This is about taking that change and automatically putting it to work. Popular apps like Acorn automate this completely. The average person makes about 40 to 50 transactions a month. At roughly 50 cents per roundup, that's about $20 to $25 invested monthly. And while that doesn't sound like much now, if invested over decades, that spare change can turn into 6 figures. Seriously, let's use an investment calculator. If you put $25 every month into an index fund that averages 8% a year, that's over $50K in 35 years. If I did this until I was in my 80s, that's over $250,000. And the best part is, it's money you never even felt leaving your account, quietly compounding. Once again, the magic of this is automation. You set it once, and forget the rest. Making a simple, smart decision to automate investments like this can completely change your life. And for our 6th rule, we have the 1% rule, which focuses on turning tiny adjustments into big savings. This rule states that you should increase your savings by just 1% every year, or every time you get a raise. 1% is almost invisible, or at least it feels that way. But over time, it compounds in a way that feels almost magical. Someone earning $60,000 who saves $10,000 starts at $6,000 per year. And after 10 years of 1% increases every year, they're saving nearly double that each year. And the best part is, it feels like they barely even made a change discipline-wise. They didn't have to overhaul their life to see that kind of growth later. This works especially well when paired with Save More Tomorrow. Every raise, 1% more saved, and the key ingredient, automation. No motivation required. So what you're seeing is that the best money habits actually have nothing to do with discipline. And once you understand that your money is either growing or shrinking, saving stops feeling overwhelming. Automation is more important than willpower when it comes to these proven systems. Now, of course, financial emergencies happen. And if you need cash fast, don't fall into the trap of a payday loan. Instead, consider a trusted personal loan provider like CreditNinja. You can apply online and get up to $5,000 the same day. You don't need to change your entire lifestyle or spend time tracking every dollar to build wealth. You just need to follow a few smart rules. Set up a few automations once and let your money work for you. This is how real people like you and I build wealth.